Welcome to Table Talk, where there's always room at the table. I am your host, Jonathan Harmon of the J. Harmon Home Team, and we can't wait to talk to these fine guests. Enjoy the show.
Hey, my name is Brian Nail. I'm a mortgage loan officer with Primis Bank Mortgage. I want to tell you that I absolutely love being a member of the Spread the Positive Network. It's such a great mission and helps bring so much positivity to our community. It's truly a pleasure to be part of. There are a lot of ways to navigate financing a home, and in markets like this, having the advice of a trusted local professional is key to making sure you get the right advice for your specific circumstances. Whether you're interested in the purchase of a new home, second home, or have a need for a refinance, I'd love to earn your trust. If I can help you nail your mortgage, call me at 615-243-3976 or visit nailyourmortgage.com.
Primis Mortgage is a subsidiary of Primis Bank, a member FDIC, equal housing opportunity. As always, all loans are subject to approval. Primis Mortgage, NMLS number 1894879.
Hey everybody, welcome to Table Talk. This is Jonathan Harmon with the J. Harmon Home Team, powered by Keller Williams. And we've got a special issue of Table Talk today, special episode today with my friend and cohort here, Mr. Trent Denson.
Yes,
and we are going to be talking about all kinds of stuff. But you know, we often talk about community all the time, right? This is what we talk about, whether it's some type of civic organization, whether it's some kind of whatever kind of group that's doing whatever they are, fundraising, all that. But, you know, we don't really do a good job sometimes of giving equal time to all the different things that are happening. And so today is a special day. It is the second, or maybe it's the third, I think, official federal holiday recognition of Juneteenth.
Yes.
And it's interesting. I had several conversations over the last week with different people, and they're like, "Hey, banks are closed on Monday." I'm like, "Yeah, it's Juneteenth," and they're like, "Well, what's that?" And it's so interesting because it's actually a pretty, in relation to our nation, it's a fairly old holiday, but it's just not ever been really federally recognized.
Correct.
And up until it's actually June 17th, 2021. So the first official one was 2 days after that.
Okay.
And then last year it was recognized as a federal holiday, like banks and all that kind of stuff. And then, of course, today.
Love it.
So it's an interesting, what's the word I'm looking for here, Trent? Evolution, I guess, and recognition. And it is a step forward in a lot of ways. One of my favorite quotes was from Maya Angelou, and it's the truth is none of us can be free until everybody is free. Very famous quote. I'm sure you've heard it before. And so Juneteenth, in a nutshell, was a celebration, or is a celebration of, essentially, it's like Second Independence Day. You'll hear it called that sometimes. Freedom Day. You'll hear it called that sometimes. And it's a celebration of when the final slaves were finally read and granted their emancipation in the city of Galveston, Texas. And what's crazy, I don't know if you know this, January 1st, 1863 is when the Emancipation Proclamation went into effect. That reading was June 19th, not of 1863, not of 1864, of 1865.
Wow.
So a full 2.5 years after it went into effect, finally, the last slaves got the news.
Wow.
250,000 people were freed that day.
That's insane.
It's crazy. With a 2,000 person army, it marched into Galveston, read the proclamation, and said, "Okay, right now,
official.
Yeah,
Thank God,
make this happen."
Yep.
Pretty wild, isn't it?
That's really wild.
Initial thoughts on that, Trent?
Yeah.
Where do you go when you think about that?
First of all, just two of us, two of us white guys talking about this is a little, I don't know. I don't really know where to go with that, but it's just really hard to picture to me, like that wasn't that long ago. I mean, 200 years is quite a while, but still just, I don't know. It breaks my heart. It's something that really doesn't sit well with me, obviously. And that probably some of my people were responsible for that has always messed with me. And yeah, I don't know, dude. This one's tough. I think it's and the fact that, like you said, it's 2 years where um there was still all that going on, and 250,000 people on that day finally got that freedom too. It's just like, come on, like
I,
let's
I look at it a little bit differently,
good.
and I don't know. This is just how I guess maybe bottle it up and cope with
Mm,
with stuff. Right?
mm,
Is one of the things that has always bothered me. Bothered is probably not the right word, but it's always maybe baffled me a little
mhm.
bit. Is to have when you look back at history books. So I just learned about Juneteenth 4 years ago,
Yeah.
maybe. It was
Mhm.
before it became a federal holiday, but
Yep.
not a lot before it became a
Right.
federal. I
Same.
mean,
Same.
maybe 5 years ago,
It's
maybe.
convenient. Those textbooks,
And
no
and
comment.
so I get angry a little bit
Same.
at the education that I received. And one of the things that I've heard, and it really resonates with me is that um, African American history, right? Native American history, um, pick your group, Asian American history, whatever. Um, it's still American history.
Yes.
So, as an American, as somebody that lives in this country that I happen to love,
Mhm.
right? We have to look at all of the bad stuff that happened to gain context and to gain a deeper appreciation of the good stuff.
There you go.
And so, we look back at that, and there's some shame in there,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
And not man, I have no idea if I have had
Right,
relatives that were
sure.
slave owners. I have no
Sure.
clue,
Mhm.
right? We've moved around. I have family from Pennsylvania, from Missouri. I was raised or born in South Texas, lived here. I have, I mean, so I have no idea
Right.
if I have relatives that were
Sure.
slave owners. I personally have not been a slave owner,
Yeah.
right? And I detest the practice.
Mhm.
And but at the same time, the shame to me is more of that is a mark, it's a burn, it's a scar on our collective history as a nation.
Yep.
And that our nation sanctioned that as a practice for a very long time, right? A very,
Mhm.
very long time. And then in coming to a realization that it was wrong, had essentially, and yes, I know we can argue about the real reason, quote unquote, behind the Civil War, whatever,
Right.
but essentially had a war
Yep.
that deeply involved that,
Yep.
and then had years, a century or more of fighting based
That.
on that same topic.
Mhm.
That as a nation is something for us to look at and really, really kind of like feel bad about and say, okay, it's part of what made us who we are.
Mhm.
Sure. Not something that we're proud of,
Right.
for sure. And now I- my brain wants to go to how do we fix it? I don't know that you can fix it, but I think you can move forward from it and not repeat it.
Right.
Number 1. And number 2, what are we doing to really make sure that stuff like that doesn't happen again?
Exactly.
And not like in a relationship, right? In yours and Kristen's
Mhm.
relationship, in mine and Lisi's relationship, if you wrong that person, if I say something mean to Lisi, I
Mhm.
can't unsay it,
Right.
right? I can't fix it,
Right.
right? And nothing that I say is going to erase the pain that that caused. Nothing that I do is going to erase the pain that that caused. That scar is still there,
Mhm.
but I can look at that and go, "Oh man, I caused that pain.
Pain.
I
That caused pain. Yep.
participated in her hurting, and I saw the instant result of that. What do I do to make sure I never do that again?"
Yes. Mhm. Yes.
Right?
Mhm.
And it's more like that. And I think if we can look at it from that base level, that human to human, one-on-one kind of level, that's the only way that we really have a means of changing.
Yes.
So when somebody says, "What is Juneteenth?" Educate yourself, know what
Yeah.
it is,
Mhm.
right? And help spread the good word,
Right.
right? Number one. Number two is when somebody says something inappropriate, off color,
Just, yep.
don't participate.
Absolutely. Shut it
And
down.
and
Have
yeah,
those difficult convos.
that's it.
It's necessary.
And just
Obviously.
say, hey man, that's
not what we do. Or you can do that somewhere else. Actually, you can't. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Just don't do that, period.
And
No,
it's
I'm with you.
I don't know. There's so many good clips out there. There's so many good videos out there. There's so many situations. I go to there was one. It was like it was uncomfortable, but it was funny at the same time. And I forget which uh, news channel. It may have been Fox News. I don't know. It may have been CNN, whatever. But there's a clip, and in this clip, there's like 4 or 5 people sitting around the little, the little round desk having a conversation. They're having a conversation about race relations, and one white guy says, "Well, it's just not fair that black people can say the N word, and a white guy, he gets just lambasted if he says the N word." And there's a black guy on the other end of the counter. He was like, "Say it."
Right. Idiot.
You want to say it, apparently.
Wow.
So just say the word. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I give you permission.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, no, because it's wrong.
Exactly.
And you know that the spirit in which that you're so anyway.
That is a good one.
So just say it. Go ahead.
Yeah, if you want to so bad. And yeah, I hate that. Yeah, I just hate that whole thing, to be honest.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
It's unfair to us white people not to be able to say that word.
To say a racial slur, yeah.
Shut up.
I just want to be able to say a racial slur. I mean, what?
No.
Come on.
Just no, man.
Come on.
Don't even sing it in songs, man.
Oh my gosh.
Come on. Yeah,
anyway,
I'm with you.
There's a bunch of events going on today here around town. There's some in Nashville. Is this something that you got to get out and have a barbecue and fully embrace? I mean, do you do that for President's Day? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't. Yes, I mean it's a joyous thing
Yes.
that finally everyone was freed.
Yes.
So if that's your thing and you want to celebrate that, I mean, I know a lot of folks that don't celebrate on the 4th of July. Fine, whatever. But it should be, and it is in our history, as big of an event as independence, because
Absolutely.
it was the end of something that we were for sure doing wrong.
Yes. Yes. And it's great that I'm just glad it. Yeah, kind of to your point with the education process. I was listening to a podcast this morning and they were talking about that. They're like, this was never mentioned in our, like, I mean, they were saying like low 30s to their age, which they're like early 40s, I think. We just weren't taught that. Like it wasn't in a textbook. It wasn't something, which is a problem. That's a huge problem in my opinion. Like these textbooks are so selective, and it's a very deep rooted thing if you do your homework on some of the way that text has been controlled over since the beginning of time. And man, that in itself pisses me off more than anything.
Yeah.
Like it's not more than anything, but just the fact that it's so strategically left out, and just some of these crazy I do remember as a kid reading about slavery and the Civil War and just being so mad. Like as a kid, like how could this happen? Like how did we get here? And just being mad.
even what you read then and what I read then, it was so sterilized.
Yes.
And so like, and sometimes the slave owners treated them well.
Right.
And I'm like, no, they didn't.
Right.
I mean, and if they did, when you say sometimes, it was like one in
few and far between.
Yeah. What?
There was
100,000.
I'm sure there were, who knows, but that is, to your point. Yeah. That's the problem. Like that is 100% the problem. Like trying to mask it, make it not as bad as it really was. Like that's not, like that is the problem in itself. And that's been like that since the beginning of time. And it's been so carefully calculated of how that's been done. And now, I mean, I'm just like, I'm glad, like, thank God that this is a thing and we are celebrating it on a federal level. Like that should be something to celebrate. And I know people will have issues with it because they are I don't even
uneducated.
know yes, there you go. Let's go.
We'll go with that.
Yeah, there you go.
And And I think it's interesting. You hear it, or you might not. I
Yeah.
hear it fairly often. Why do we have to have Black History Month? Why do we have to have this? And I'm like, well, let me explain to you why.
Yes.
Let's
Let's talk
pull
about
pull out an American history textbook,
it. Right.
and we'll talk about why we have to have that.
Mm-hmm.
And until there is truly a comprehensive, this is American history,
Yes.
good, bad, ugly,
very ugly,
indifferent.
Mm-hmm.
This just happened. This happened because of evil people. This happened because of good people. Until we have a truly comprehensive American history curriculum, textbook, understanding, until that, and here's the thing, we can have that textbook today,
Mm-hmm.
right? But that doesn't help you.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't help me.
Exactly.
Right. So if you think about this, if that textbook were, let's say it was published 10 years ago,
Yep.
cool. And I have no idea. Maybe
Yeah.
it was, maybe it wasn't. But let's say that it was. You now have to wait for decades for that to get through the culture, right? And let's be honest, some of the people that didn't have the education, quite frankly, to die off.
Yeah.
Including me.
Yeah.
To some extent, right?
100%. Yeah. That's a really wild thought. It's kind of scary.
So we can start the fix
Thank
now.
goodness. I mean, be part of it. Be part of the solution. That's all we can do at this point, right?
That's
be an
wild.
ally. Push it in the right ways. Have those conversations when it's necessary.
And I'm going to say it this way too, okay? And this, I don't know. Honestly, I don't care if this is popular opinion or not.
Yeah.
I don't love the term ally.
Okay.
And here's my reason for that. Okay. I would rather be an educator.
Okay.
That's what I would rather be, period.
Okay.
Right? I don't want it to be an adversarial situation.
That's fair.
Okay. I don't want to be on your side versus on that side. I don't want there to be sides.
Right.
I want the sides to be, we're all Americans.
Yeah.
And so in order to be Americans, we need to understand all the pieces of American history for context, understand the current, right? What's going on right now, and then have a good vision for what the future is.
Yeah.
And so am I an ally? How about I'm just an educator and somebody that wants something better for my kids.
Right.
And not just my kids, but all of my kids' friends.
There you go.
Right?
Yep.
And all of the people that are
Mhm.
here in Murfreesboro and in Rutherford County, and I mean, keep going,
Yeah.
sure, but at least the ones that I can have impact on.
Sure.
Right?
I would. Yeah.
I want to erase sides.
Yeah. I would even kind of remove the American label then. Like, let's just on a human level.
We got to start here.
Sure.
I do believe we got to start here.
But you're right. But those labels,
I get it.
nationalist stuff
No,
can get in the way too.
I totally get it. I'm not saying we shouldn't help other people.
Right.
What I am saying though is that it's the whole self-care thing, right?
Sure.
What
That's
makes
true.
me more able to help that guy than making sure that I'm in a spot where I
Right.
can help that guy.
That's true.
So a stronger United States, a less divided, a less adversarial internally
Yeah, you're right.
United States can absolutely be a stronger ally, can be a stronger whatever
Right.
on the world stage.
I agree. Yeah.
So and I'm not saying we should
Yeah.
stop.
Sure.
I'm saying
Let's take care of home first.
let's get some stuff
get our
right here.
backyard right before we
That's right.
take on the whole planet.
That's it. That's it.
I feel you.
Oh man. Well, so I read just a few events. Look it up. There's some cool stuff going on. There's some stuff in Nashville. There's some poetry readings. There's some open mic nights, things like that. There are some barbecues and cookouts and different
Absolutely.
celebrations all over the place. But go learn. You know,
that's the moral of the story.
I posted an article today from the Smithsonian, and it was a very short read, but it gave the
Really to the point. I read it.
concise history.
Very. I mean, it definitely knocks out the.
But dive
big
in a
points.
little more
Yeah.
because there's a lot of nuance to it. Like the number one question, well, why did it take 2.5 years to get to Galveston?
That would be my number one question.
Even in the 1860s,
Right.
you had telegraphs,
Yep.
and you could get from, Washington, D.C. to Galveston faster than 2.5 years. Like,
Yes.
I'm pretty
It
sure I
doesn't-
could walk that faster than
Yeah,
2.5 years.
Absolutely.
So why did it take so long? And
That's a great
there's a
question.
lot of questions. There's a lot of interesting information about that. And then the other thing that I would encourage you to look up while you're at it, and we're not going to go into all of this today, but 1921, May 31st to June 1st, there was the largest, what is considered the largest racial riot in the history of our country. And a lot of folks don't even know about it. The Tulsa Race Massacre.
Oh my gosh,
Say
yeah.
a lot of folks. I didn't know about it
Yeah.
until 4 or 5 years ago. Greenwood District in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Black Wall Street Massacre. You'll hear it called that sometimes. Basically, racially radical folks came in and burned over 35 blocks of the city down. The official count was 36 folks perished, but because of the way records were kept and just poor handling, and it was fires and everything else, it could be anywhere from 75 to 300 people that actually perished in that situation. And it was
just thriving. I mean, it was
yeah.
just exactly what we were going for, and then some bad actors
over what was
greed.
perceived. Well, it was
Not even
perceived.
greed, it was
It was an attack.
Yeah.
So there was a guy that did shoe shining that allegedly attacked a girl that was an elevator operator, black guy, white girl, and it was completely guilty until proven innocent type situation.
Mhm.
And that was a little catalyst. And then, of course, people just jump in, and the next thing you know, you've got mobs.
Mm.
It was bad, y'all.
Really bad.
10,000 people homeless in the span of 2 days. Yeah, it was crazy. So read up on that, because that's an interesting situation. And again, if you're looking for answers as to why, you can always go back and read context and learn the history. And I mean, that is one situation in thousands of different situations, possibly even millions at this point.
Mhm.
So go back and learn from our mistakes, gain an understanding. I'm not saying I don't know that I could really gain empathy, right? Because empathy means that I've been there.
Yeah.
But I can certainly at least relate to some extent. I don't know. That's a tough one. It's a tough one.
You can have empathy
I thought
empathy, right?
sympathy
Sympathy is
versus empathy.
okay.
Am I wrong about that? I
don't
thought
know.
empathy meant that
You personally.
yeah.
I think it just means you personally feel it.
Put it in the comments
Yeah.
and let me know, because I don't have my phone in front of me
An
to.
empath is someone that feels your pain, right?
Right, but can I feel it if I haven't done it?
I think so.
Oh, hell, I don't know. Anyway,
New topic.
whatever. I
New
don't know
pod-
that I can actually be there
Yeah,
and feel it the
that's
same way. How
I know
about
what
that?
you're saying. Yeah,
Okay.
definitely that. I definitely get that. But
Bless my heart.
yeah, hard combos, necessary combos. But the best part is it is a celebration.
It is a celebration.
And we are making progress, and Lord willing, like, we're moving forward, like you said, learning from our mistakes, getting better, becoming more educated. I mean, that's all we can do. And yeah, be there for your neighbor. You know?
And here's I want to go back
Regardless.
to that guy that I mentioned in the news thing,
Mhm.
right? I think we look at things wrong. I think we say, "Oh, well, I can't do that.
Right.
I can't do that."
That's the dumbest thing.
And instead of can't, maybe we should look at it and say, I probably shouldn't do that.
Yeah. Especially that one. That
Well,
one's easy, but just in
any
general,
of them, right?
Yeah,
Like,
that's in general.
let's
what you're
look at
saying.
what we should do and what we shouldn't do,
Mhm.
and then let's look at what we get to do, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And instead of feeling bad about something that you perceive as somehow taken away from you, which is
wild.
crazy,
It's just
right? The month of
wild.
February, oh, it's Black History Month.
That's good.
Well, we get to do that. We get to fill in the gaps in the history that we weren't taught.
Yes.
Right. We have an opportunity to gain a little bit better understanding. We have a focus for that month to figure out some things. Right. Juneteenth, we have an opportunity to look at truly a joyous time, a relieving time. Right. And we get an opportunity to look at that and go, okay, all this bad crap was happening and still did after that. But in this moment, something great happened.
That's right.
So let's celebrate that.
That's right.
Right. And so we get to do that. We get to focus on that. Not we have to, or not we don't get to whatever. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm with you. That's it. That's all we can do.
That's it.
Focus on what you can control, right?
Yes.
Go help where you can. That's right.
That is it. All right, Mr. Trent.
We did it.
It's a good episode.
Heavy.
Good
Necessary.
information. I don't know. Is it heavy?
A little bit.
A little bit?
Absolutely.
I think we should be more comfortable talking about this
That's
kind of
fair.
stuff. Because it sucks in a relationship when you have problems, right? Let's go back to the one-on-one relationship, right? It sucks when you know you've hurt someone and you want them to just forgive you.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm that guy. I said I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, so
I know. That's you're right. And we got a mouth on me sometimes, man.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, we can say some hurtful stuff. Yeah.
Man.
Don't mean to.
No.
Never mean to. But
no.
Man, sometimes it just slides right out.
And you want to just instantly be forgiven.
Or just
rewind
it, man.
And like you're sitting there beating yourself up and you're like, oh, I'm such a bonehead.
Yeah.
But you can't. So understanding that and understanding, again, that centuries of hurt can only help us get better, right? Can only help us gain that understanding. And saying, I'm sorry.
Doesn't do that much, if anything.
No, oftentimes, and in a personal relationship, oftentimes I'm sorry is almost worse because it's more for you than it is for them, because you want them to forgive you so that you feel better about that.
Exactly. Isn't that wild? We kind of some selfish creatures to our core, aren't we?
Yes.
Scary.
Yes, extremely.
Guilty.
One of the worst.
Me too.
Right here.
I think if we all are to a certain degree, and having the self-awareness to admit that's big. So we should be proud of ourselves.
That's right. And opening the opportunity to talk about that stuff. That's the thing. So is it uncomfortable? Yes. Is it necessary? Yes.
Big yes.
Can we make it a little more comfortable just by talking about it?
Yes.
Right? Like just doing it sometimes will make it more comfortable the next time.
That's right.
And I think that's what we want to do. That's part of the point of what we wanted to do with this show.
Man. That's it. Well, I appreciate you.
I appreciate you, bud.
Taking the tough ones on, because a lot of people would steer very clear, and I appreciate you for not doing that.
Yeah, that's not my style.
Yep, that's why we love you.
All right. Hey, y'all have a good rest of the day.
Thank you to Brian Nail.
Oh, yeah.
He'll be in post.
Brian,
plug you in.
Love you, bud.
Love you, Brian. Thank you for everything.
Thanks for checking out Table Talk today. We hope you enjoyed the show. If you have any questions whatsoever about real estate, check us out at jharmonhometeam.com or on Facebook and Instagram at jharmonhometeam.